Hey coin collectors, and welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. And today we're going to take a look at a pile of 1988 United States quarters. The Washington quarter, Washington facing to the left, Liberty above his head, In God We Trust under his chin, and the date down here, 1988. Now, we can also see on this one, let's move some of these other ones out of the way, and we'll kind of look through them a few at a time. All right, let's look at that. So you can see that's the Denver Mint mark there, right behind Washington, the big D there. And we'll see that there's a bunch of different Denver Mint marks. They just kind of wear different, but also they get punched different. So if we tip it up, we can actually sometimes see how the coin got punched in a little bit. And you can't really see that on this one much. We tip it up and we see that this is a copper nickel clad copper, so we can see the brown on the inside. We flip it over and we see that the has the War Eagle on the back. United States of America, it says E Pluribus Unum below it. The eagle holding a sheaf of arrows, and you see the arrow end here, the feathers here. See the bottom of the eagle's tail comes down below, and these are the details you can look on a really good coin. You can see just the differences here. This is the eagle, this is the arrows, and down here these are an olive branch kind of wreath or tied in olive branches. At the very bottom it says $quarter. These coins are not very rare and they're not very valuable unless you get a really special coin. We'll talk a little bit about that, what a special coin would be. So this is the Denver Mint. Let's see if we can find another one from the Philadelphia Mint. Let's see. There we go. Now this is the Philadelphia Mint. This is often how you get coins, right? They're a little dirty, they're a little messy, they're a little worn. This is a over 30-year-old coin, so of course it's going to get some wear on it. And that's the P right there. And sometimes you can't tell the difference much between the P and the D. See how the tail starts to wear off on the P? So let's look at that right next to the D. So sometimes you get one of these and you think it's a D because it's a little D there, but it really does have the tail on it. So this is a Philadelphia Mint, this is the Denver Mint. At the Philadelphia Mint in 1988, they made 562 million of these. At the Denver Mint, they made 596 million. So between the two of them, they made 1.2 billion of these coins. Remember also that there were proof coins made at the San Francisco Mint. They made 3.2 million proof coins at the San Francisco Mint. So those are also available, and they would have an S on them, and I'll show you one of those later. So if they made 1.2 billion of these, how many of them are still around? Well, PCGS, which is one of the grading services, estimates about 200 million of these are still around. So whenever you have 200 million of anything, it's unlikely to be rare and unlikely to be valuable. What would make this coin valuable? Well, in some cases, we will see some doubling of the letters. In some cases, we would see some, you see some that don't have the full clad on them. And you'll see, if you want to look for some of those, a lot of times you can just look on eBay and say 1988 U.S. quarter error or 1988 U.S. quarter and go by the amount they charge for it, and you can find some that are error coins. I'd be very, very careful doing that. I'd much rather buy a coin from a dealer that's been graded if I was looking for an error coin. All right, so let's look through these and separate them into Philadelphia and Denver Mint. There's a Denver there. There's a Philly. There's a Philly. Now, remember, by 1988, of course, these all had P's and D's on them. That's not like some of the coins where they took the P off and it's a blank coin. It turns if we were trying to separate these out in the middle of the country, maybe somewhere, we might get just as many P's as D's. But because I'm on the East Coast, you often see many more P's. So let's see what we end up getting here. And you can see as I put these on, the letters are changing somewhat. So if we look at the different P's, you can see, I don't know if you can see that. Let's move these D's out of the way and I'll actually show you. All right. So if we look at these different P's on here. You'll see this P is kind of smushed and tall, but a good tail on it. This P has space in the center. It's not as smushed. This is not a mint ear or anything else. This is just how they go over time. This one almost has the bottom of the P chopped off. This one is probably the best of all the P's. Maybe these two are the best. Nothing filled in, most of the bottom. But notice how the bottom on this one is a little bit better than the bottom on this one. So as we look through them, we see that there's these little different variations in the P's, but that's not a value issue at all. We get down to here, and we see this is just almost like a filled P. And let's look at a couple more. Yeah, that one there. And that's a pretty good one. And then there's the D next to it. So when we look at the D's, we find some of the same issues with the D's. So let's move these P's out of the way and start looking at the D's. Bring them over from here. Look at that D. Look at the two D's versus each other. Now, one of the things that happens with these, of course, is they get into machines and they kind of get worn off. And that's the best D of them all. So you can see that the D's also change shape, size, and color along with the P's. Now, I said I would show you a San Francisco Mint mark, and this is actually in a proof set. I don't have any broken proof sets, so I haven't taken them out. Usually that's what I will do. If it's in a proof set and the proof set gets dirty or breaks, I'll take them out and use them. You'll see that this has some nice kind of coloring through here. There's an S there and right there. That's the S mint mark. And the proof coins generally, PCGS and some of the other grading services generally grade them just coming out of this package right here, proof 67 to proof 70. And that's where they're not worth much. They're worth $11 maybe if it proof 67 if you get them graded. Now, these coins, if you could get one of these coins, a Philadelphia Mint coin in this shape, it would be worth $600 or $700. So if you can find a Philadelphia Mint that has this kind of shape to it, it's probably going to be worth $600 or $700. Now, these coins were made from 1965 until 1998. 1998, they moved on, of course, to the State Quarter Series. This is the Kansas one, and they changed it up quite a bit on the front here. There were 2 years. Well, here's the 64, and you can tell it's 64 because it is silver, 90% silver. But there were 2 years between 1965 and 1998 where they didn't make these quarters. One of the years was this right here when they made the bicentennial quarter. And here's the bicentennial quarter right here with a drummer on the back, the torch, there's 13 stars. So they made the bicentennial quarter in 1976. And then in 1975, they didn't actually have any quarters minted in the United States that had the year 1975 on them. They did produce and mint some of these 1976 quarters, but in 1975, there's no 1975 quarters. So if you're looking to fill the 1975 slot in your quarter book, you're not going to be able to. All right, that's all we have today from DC Coinwell International Coin Channel. I would love to have you subscribe to our channel and leave any comments you might have in the comment section.